Breaking news from Hollywood shakes the entertainment world as Dakota Johnson steps into the spotlight with a rare, emotional revelation about her strained relationship with Chris Martin. Just moments after rumors exploded online claiming that Chris Martin may have already moved on, Dakota delivers a statement that is leaving millions of fans stunned, confused, and desperate to know what is really happening behind closed doors. If you're watching this right now, don't forget to like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because what Dakota says next may completely change the narrative you thought you knew. The story begins when whispers of tension between Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin suddenly turn into a firestorm across social media. Fans noticed subtle changes. The pair hadn't been spotted together in weeks. Their usual quiet affection disappeared from paparazzi lenses, and insiders started leaking clues suggesting that the couple, who had spent years building a private but meaningful relationship, might be facing a major crossroads. But today, Dakota finally breaks her silence, confirming that not everything has been as peaceful as it once appeared. In her statement, Dakota Johnson addresses the emotional strain she has endured amid constant speculation about Chris Martin's connection with another Hollywood star, someone whose name keeps resurfacing in every corner of the internet. That name is Sophie Turner. While neither Chris nor Sophie has confirmed anything, the mere possibility has created shockwaves, leaving Dakota in the center of swirling accusations and theories. Dakota opens up about the pressure of maintaining a relationship under the glare of public scrutiny, explaining that the past few months have been some of the most challenging of her life. Her words carry the tone of someone trying to stay composed, yet clearly fighting a storm within. But just when the public believes they've heard the whole story, Dakota adds a moment that completely shifts the atmosphere. Her voice grows heavier, her expression becomes deeply reflective, and she admits that she and Chris have been navigating growing differences that became more obvious once rumors about him moving on began to intensify. She stops short of confirming a breakup, but the hesitation in her tone is enough to make fans question everything. People across platforms are hitting replay, searching for hidden meaning in her pauses and the subtle change in her breathing. Before the interview moves forward, there is a sudden shift in tempo, a moment that feels like the world zooms in on Dakota's eyes. It's the kind of pattern interrupt that pulls the audience back into full attention. Dakota reveals that she has felt unseen and unheard in ways she has never publicly discussed. These words hit harder than anything she's said before. She describes the emotional distance that slowly formed between her and Chris, a distance that became harder to ignore each time the media linked him to a new headline involving another woman. While she avoids blaming anyone directly, the message is clear: something changed. And that change didn't come from her. Halfway through her narrative, Dakota drops a teaser that sends shockwaves. There are things the public will eventually understand. The moment those words leave her mouth, viewers are left in complete suspense. What does she mean? Is she hinting at a private conflict? A possible reconciliation? Or a truth that hasn't yet reached the surface? Fans immediately flood social media demanding answers, creating a tidal wave of speculation that makes the situation even more intense. And then, another twist. Dakota explains that she still deeply respects Chris Martin, calling him a person with a beautiful heart, but she admits that love alone wasn't enough to protect them from the strain that fame adds to every relationship. Her tone is soft but controlled, a mixture of heartbreak and acceptance. She confesses that the pressure of outsiders constantly interfering, judging, and projecting narratives onto their private lives created cracks that were impossible to repair overnight. Hollywood relationships have always been fragile under the spotlight, but this time, Dakota's honesty makes the pain feel strikingly real. Meanwhile, sources connected to Chris Martin insist that he has not moved on in the way the media is suggesting. They claim his recent interactions with Sophie Turner were strictly professional and friendly, not romantic. But the lack of direct clarification from Chris himself adds fuel to the fire. Fans notice that Chris continues to remain silent, offering no public support to Dakota despite her bold emotional openness. That silence becomes its own headline, its own controversy, raising the question, why hasn't Chris said anything? Dakota's statement continues with a level of vulnerability rarely seen from her. She describes how hard it has been to protect her mental and emotional well-being while being bombarded by rumors she cannot escape. She admits that she has cried more nights than she can count, trying to understand where everything started to shift. The newsroom-style interview captures every tremble in her voice, every moment she forces herself to stay composed. Then, the climax hits. Dakota reveals that she and Chris have taken a significant step back from their relationship in order to reevaluate what they truly need. She does not confirm a breakup, but she doesn't deny it either. The room freezes. The clip pauses for a heartbeat. This moment feels like a cinematic punch to the chest. Fans who have followed their story for years feel the weight of her words. In the background, Hollywood insiders begin buzzing with theories, questioning whether Chris's silence is a sign of guilt, emotional distance, or simply his desire to protect his privacy. But Dakota doesn't end her message in heartbreak. She ends with strength. She thanks her supporters for standing by her, acknowledges that healing is a process, and assures the public that she is stepping into a new phase of her life, one defined not by rumors but by her own voice. Her final words echo with power: "I am choosing to move forward with clarity, dignity, and truth." And just when the audience thinks the video is about to fade out, she adds one final message, looking straight into the camera: "This is not the end of the story." That closing line becomes the bombshell that sends the internet into a wildfire of predictions. If you've been following every twist of this emotional Hollywood saga, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more updates, and stay alert, because the next chapter in the Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin narrative may arrive sooner than anyone expects. The story surrounding Dakota Johnson takes an even more dramatic turn as new developments emerge only hours after her emotional statement shook Hollywood. What began as a heartfelt confession about her strained relationship with Chris Martin has now escalated into a media storm filled with conflicting reports, insider leaks, and unexpected reactions from people close to the couple. As the dust continues to rise, fans around the world brace for impact, because the tension behind the scenes appears far from over. Shortly after Dakota's interview went viral, major entertainment outlets began releasing their own versions of what allegedly led to the emotional distance between her and Chris Martin. Some sources claim the couple had been quietly struggling long before the public noticed anything unusual. Others insist that the pressure intensified once Chris Martin was spotted having what insiders described as long, private conversations with Sophie Turner during a series of industry events. While no one has confirmed anything beyond friendly interactions, the rumors alone have become enough to push Dakota into the spotlight in a way she never desired. But here's where things get even more intense. A close friend of Dakota, who requested anonymity due to the sensitivity of the situation, reveals that Dakota felt isolated during the past several months, unable to understand why Chris seemed emotionally distant. According to the source, Dakota attempted multiple times to reconnect, to realign their relationship, and to bring back the warmth that once bonded them. But every time she tried, her efforts were met with what she described as a growing wall of silence. The source emphasized that Dakota never wanted to make this a public issue. She simply reached a breaking point when the speculation became too overwhelming to ignore. Meanwhile, Chris Martin's circle paints a different picture. They insist that Chris has been dealing with personal pressures as well, ones unrelated to Dakota or any potential new relationship. According to an insider familiar with the situation, Chris felt overwhelmed with the expectations placed on him, both in his music career and in his private life. The insider claims Chris needed space, not from Dakota specifically, but from everything happening around him. However, the timing of his rumored closeness to Sophie Turner has unfortunately painted a narrative that many feel is impossible to dismiss. As these opposing accounts circulate, Dakota Johnson finds herself caught between protecting her emotional truth and defending herself from interpretations that distort her intentions. Her team has reportedly received thousands of messages within hours, messages from fans offering support, from journalists requesting clarification, and from industry figures who were shocked by her vulnerability. What stands out the most is the overwhelming response from women who said Dakota's words resonated deeply with their own experiences of emotional strain and public scrutiny. Dakota has unintentionally sparked a larger conversation about how Hollywood relationships are often glamorized while hiding the pain beneath, but the tension grows even heavier when new footage surfaces. Paparazzi video showing Chris Martin leaving a private dinner in Los Angeles. The video itself isn't scandalous, but what ignited controversy was the visible change in his demeanor. Chris appeared somber, avoiding cameras more aggressively than usual, suggesting that he is fully aware of the chaos unfolding. Reporters shouted questions about Dakota, about Sophie Turner, about the rumors, but Chris offered no comment, maintaining the same silence that Dakota had highlighted in her statement. That silence now carries weight. It now feels deliberate. And it now fuels an entirely new wave of speculation. Teasers for upcoming interviews suggest that Dakota is not finished speaking. Entertainment networks are already previewing segments where she hints that the issues between her and Chris were much deeper than the media is assuming. One clip even features Dakota saying, "There were moments when I felt like I was losing myself." Those 8 words echo across social media platforms, becoming a viral quote within minutes. Fans dissect the meaning, creating theories, timelines, and emotional breakdowns of their own, but just when viewers believe they understand the full picture, another unexpected element enters the story. Sophie Turner's team issues a short statement distancing her from the narrative entirely. They emphasize that Sophie has been focused on her work, her children, and rebuilding her life after her own highly publicized breakup. The statement is brief but firm, shutting down any attempt to tie her into Dakota and Chris's private matters. However, for some fans, the denial only adds more fuel. Why issue a statement at all unless the rumors had hit a nerve? Hollywood analysts begin discussing the situation from a broader, more cynical perspective. They point out how celebrity narratives often spiral out of control when multiple stories collide. A couple facing relationship strain, a global rock star dealing with career pressure, an actress navigating post-breakup life, and Dakota Johnson's rare moment of deep emotional honesty. The collision of these storylines creates a media frenzy where truth and speculation blend into one. Meanwhile, Dakota's fans continue to rally behind her. Overnight, hashtags supporting her trend worldwide, with millions of viewers praising her courage for speaking openly despite the consequences. People admire her composure and the gentle way she expressed her pain without attacking anyone. They call her statement brave, beautiful, and heartbreaking. It becomes clear that Dakota has unintentionally become a symbol of emotional integrity in an industry where silence is often the safer path. As the story develops, one key question remains unanswered: what will Chris Martin say? Will he confirm the distance? Will he deny the rumors? Or will he choose to remain silent indefinitely, letting the world fill in the blanks on its own? Fans are now glued to updates, waiting for even the slightest hint of his perspective. For now, Dakota Johnson continues to move forward, appearing calmer, more grounded, yet still visibly affected by the emotional turmoil of the past few months. As Hollywood watches closely, one thing is clear: this story is far from reaching its conclusion. And the next chapter may reveal more than anyone is prepared to hear. As the Hollywood storm surrounding Dakota Johnson intensifies, the narrative takes yet another dramatic turn, one that pushes the emotional tension to a new high and deepens the mystery surrounding the true state of her relationship with Chris Martin. Overnight, exclusive sources, eyewitness accounts, and subtle clues begin forming a pattern that suggests something far more complex has been unfolding behind the scenes. And now, the entertainment world is watching Dakota with renewed urgency, waiting for her next move as her story spreads across global headlines. Shortly after her honest and vulnerable confession went viral, several major news networks reported that Dakota had been approached by multiple high-profile interviewers eager to secure the first full tell-all regarding her relationship strain. But Dakota, known for guarding her privacy with unwavering discipline, turned down every offer. Her team, however, quietly hinted that there may be a moment soon when she chooses to address the unanswered questions, not because she wants publicity, but because she feels responsible for setting the record straight after so many rumors spiraled out of control. Inside sources reveal more details about that emotional shift in Dakota's voice during her statement, the moment when she admitted feeling unseen and unheard. According to a person who claims to be close to the situation, those words were not scripted. They came from a raw place, one that had been building for months. The source explains that Dakota often tried to support Chris through his overwhelming schedule, his emotional highs and lows, and the non-stop pressure of being a global icon. But in recent months, she allegedly began to feel like her own emotional needs were slowly fading into the background, overshadowed by Chris's demanding world. Fans who have followed their relationship for years immediately picked up on this detail. Many are now revisiting old interviews, old photos, and past red carpet recordings to spot subtle signs of emotional fatigue in Dakota's demeanor. Some point to moments when she tried to hold Chris's hand but his attention shifted elsewhere. Others highlight interviews where Dakota joked about needing more communication in her life, hints that at the time seemed playful, but now carry heavier meaning. Meanwhile, rumors surrounding Chris Martin's supposed closeness with Sophie Turner refuse to calm down. Even though Sophie's team firmly denied the speculation, social media detectives continue analyzing timelines, event appearances, and industry connections. They note that Chris and Sophie recently attended 3 of the same private industry gatherings within a short period, coincidences that fans can't ignore. Whether the interactions were purely professional or something more meaningful remains the central question fueling millions of comments and discussions. But here's where the story becomes even more complicated. New reports emerge suggesting that Chris Martin has been deeply affected by Dakota's emotional statement, despite remaining silent. A music industry insider claims that Chris has been struggling privately after realizing how much Dakota was hurting. According to this source, Chris never intended to create distance between them, but he failed to see the emotional consequences of his actions, or his silence. The insider also claims that Chris has read every headline since the video dropped, and he is rethinking everything, including whether he should step forward with his own explanation. However, another source from Dakota's camp quickly contradicts this narrative, saying the time for explanations might have already passed. They argue that Dakota's strength came from accepting the reality of their emotional disconnect, not from waiting for Chris to finally speak. The differing stories add yet another layer of confusion, leaving fans unsure which version reflects the true situation. Then, unexpectedly, paparazzi footage erupts online showing Dakota Johnson leaving her home early in the morning with a suitcase in hand. Within seconds, social media explodes. Is she traveling for work? Taking time for herself? Leaving Los Angeles to escape the chaos? The video captures Dakota wearing dark sunglasses and a calm expression, but her posture hints at exhaustion. Reporters shouting questions are ignored, and Dakota disappears into a black SUV without a word. The moment becomes a trending topic worldwide, with millions analyzing the footage frame by frame. Parallel to this, fans begin noticing something unusual. Chris Martin has reportedly canceled several private appearances and studio sessions. His representatives offer no explanation, adding fuel to the speculation that he is shaken by the unfolding scandal. Entertainment analysts say that Chris's silence is becoming more damaging than the rumors themselves, especially as Dakota's emotional honesty has garnered public sympathy. Some argue that if Chris doesn't speak soon, the narrative may become impossible for him to control. But the most surprising twist emerges when an unnamed source close to Chris claims that he and Dakota had previously discussed taking a temporary break months ago, but that Dakota never expected the distance to grow this far or for the rumors to overshadow their understanding. If true, this bombshell suggests that the emotional strain wasn't sudden, it was a slow, painful unraveling that neither of them fully acknowledged until it was too late. As the media frenzy grows, Dakota Johnson is spotted once again, this time at a quiet coastal retreat known for being a sanctuary for celebrities seeking privacy. Eyewitnesses say she appeared calm, reflective, and deeply lost in thought as she walked along the secluded shoreline. Some claim she was accompanied by a close family member, others say she was alone. Regardless, the image of Dakota walking by the ocean becomes symbolic, shared by millions who now view her as a woman standing at a crossroads in both her heart and her life. Just when the narrative seems to settle into emotional melancholy, a fresh spark reignites the tension. A highly respected entertainment journalist reveals that Dakota reportedly told someone close to her, "I'm not done speaking. There's more the world needs to understand." The statement, if true, sends shockwaves through the industry. What else could Dakota be planning to reveal? Is it about Chris? About the rumors? About the emotional reality behind Hollywood relationships? Fans brace themselves, knowing that when Dakota Johnson speaks again, the world will be listening. And as the saga continues to unravel, one thing becomes clear: this is not just a celebrity relationship story. This is a story about emotional survival, about truth versus perception, and about the cost of silence in a world that demands explanations. And Dakota Johnson's voice, steady, honest, and deeply human, has become the center of it all.